Larry B. Scott from Revenge of the Nerds, Party, 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 and you're listening to Nerd Radio.
Welcome back to Nerd Radio, wherever you get your podcast as part of the B-Pod Studios Network, and of course on social media at Nerd Radio 101. Chuck B, Al, Beck, and James all talking about nerd stuff. We spent the last half hour or so talking about WandaVision and the Justice League. Let's take just a quick minute to discuss wrestling, because this past week was the Elimination Chamber. On Sunday. James, I'm curious to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it was okay. I wasn't... Wrestling for me lately has just been kind of boring. It hasn't been super exciting. I kind of like what they did at the end. If you just want to jump right to the final Elimination Chamber with Drew McIntyre, and The Miz cashed in his Money in the Bank contract.
Yep.
And you find out he had set up an arrangement with another wrestler to help beat the crap out of Drew McIntyre a little bit more, and then he's the champ.
Do you think the Miz...
I kind of thought it was going to happen, though. I was like, eventually, the Miz has to cash in.
Oh, yeah, that's how that Money in the Bank contract works. It's what King of the Ring almost used to be, except now they can... I don't know if you're familiar, Al, but...
I am familiar with the concept
the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Okay. So
has anyone ever lost their...
Yes.
Oh, really?
Very infrequently. I think it's you can count on one hand the amount of people that lost.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler lost.
Dolph Ziggler lost.
I was going to say, because you could do it any time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, he's just been killed.
Yep.
And now I'm going to cash this in and just,
which is what you look for.
Right. And then just pin his lifeless body, and then now I'm the champion.
I feel like they never bring up the fact that when you are the Money in the Bank contract holder, it's not so much you're going to wait for the champ to be, as defeated as possible so you can take the title off him, but maybe look around at the field and see who's going to be coming after you once you're champ.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever thinks that way.
Nope.
Because if I was the Miz, I would look at everybody that's gunning for Drew McIntyre and be like, well, I don't want to fight any of those guys.
Well, everybody that's gunning for Drew McIntyre is 4 times the size of the Miz.
Exactly.
Now, here's my question, though. Do you have to cash it in on... like the top belt?
You don't.
No, you cash in on whatever
Because
you want.
Have we ever had like a Brock Lesnar want to be the women's champion?
No.
Oh, that would be amazing.
No.
Hilarious.
No, but
Brock Lesnar.
So the way this year's Money in the Bank has worked, there was a wrestler that was in a tag team. His name is Otis. He's a big old guy, and he had the Money in the Bank contract, and then he put it on the line against Miz in a match and lost it. So that's how the Miz got it.
Well, it was a bomb. I don't know why they had to take it away from Otis. Like ever since COVID completely destroyed Heavy Machinery.
Yeah.
Which to me, hell of a fun tag team.
They were so much fun.
They were awesome.
Dude's like 300 plus pounds and can do the worm.
Yes, but I think because there was no crowds there, they weren't getting over the way McMahon wanted them to, so he kind of destroyed them. And then took away all of Otis's...
As soon as they gave Otis the thing, like I was like, well, he's just going to cash in so him and his buddy can be tag team champs.
Yeah.
Because he's a good dude. And they didn't do that.
Nope.
And I was like, well, that's dumb.
Yeah, and they ended up having like a fake lawsuit and all that. I was like...
I had Elimination Chamber on my television, and I was not paying attention to it so much. Randy Orton got eliminated, and I didn't know how. Like, I looked up, because I was waiting for The Fiend to come in and cost Randy Orton his spot in the Elimination Chamber, and I looked up, and he was RKOing everybody, and then he was walking out of the chamber, and as far as I knew, he just decided he didn't want to be there anymore.
I'm trying to remember how we got eliminated.
I had to look it up the next day, and it was like Kofi Kingston pinned him.
Oh, Kofi pinned him, okay.
Yeah.
Here's my question for you two guys, though. Is there a point where you're just like, God, this isn't fun anymore, and I'm out? Like, do you feel like you're getting there? Because now, like, for one thing, I know both of you are really passionate about watching wrestling. James, you're a little bit newer in the last couple of years of getting back into it.
Yeah.
But Chuck, for like lifetime fan.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day, and it's been I came back to watching wrestling in 2020, or in the year 2000.
Okay.
So, like, literally for the last 21 years, I've been
It's funny. Like, he picked it up as I put it down.
Yeah.
I'm
like,
I'm
going to put this down now.
I watched it as a kid up until Hogan lost the belt to the Ultimate Warrior at, like, WrestleMania 7.
Okay.
And then I was hitting middle school, so I'm like, I think I'm over the wrestling. I think wrestling's kind of silly now. And then I just tuned into a SmackDown in the year 2000, and The Rock was blasting out DX with chairs, and I'm like, but he's supposed to be the Hulk Hogan character, and he's, like, doing heel shit. What is this?
Yeah. Because just to me, it's like the thing that got me back out of it was they wanted too much of my time, and it wasn't compelling enough for me. If it was just Raw every Monday, I would have continued watching it. But it was too much time for something that was not intriguing me enough. So do you feel like you are getting.
It is at a lull, and there have absolutely been times where I would put Monday Night Raw on just as a tradition, and then be on my computer the entire 3 hours just with it in the background.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is at our house.
That's where it is now.
Yeah, it's on, but like I'm farting around on my phone. My fiance is farting around on her phone.
Because even she got into it too.
Yeah.
I was playing games on my Switch and looking at my phone for almost the entire Elimination Chamber pay-per-view.
And
And
it's been boring.
it's not where it should be. But the good news is that we're at a point now where you've got NXT and you've got AEW and you've got Impact Wrestling. You've got a lot of options if you're a wrestling fan, so you can find something that does intrigue you, which is really cool. NXT.
So you would be more likely to say, you know what, screw the WWE, I'm going to AEW,
Yeah,
than to get out of wrestling altogether.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch Raw and SmackDown because they're not intriguing to me. I'm not gonna watch Elimination Chamber on Sunday. I'll watch WrestleMania because it's WrestleMania, man. It's,
sure, yeah.
Like you can take the temperature of what wrestling is in that year by what happens at WrestleMania. If WrestleMania is garbage, that year was probably really bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's going to be, I think the next pay-per-view is Fastlane, and I'll probably be on my phone for most of it.
Yeah.
I'm not real interested.
I don't remember there being this many pay-per-views between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania either.
There didn't used to be, but WrestleMania
sneak a few in there.
Usually pay-per-views happen like midway or near the end of a month, and March is always a dead month, and they would usually use it to build towards WrestleMania, and there wouldn't be a pay-per-view. And now they're like, we got to have at least one thing in March.
But I feel like that, for me, that seems silly because you already you have the WrestleMania main event pretty much already picked right now. Edge and Roman Reigns.
You're gonna throw
one. Are you gonna have a pay-per-view?
You're gonna throw one more curve in the road
Yeah.
before WrestleMania just to see if people are interested.
And it's also too, they just keep the same people wrestling each other every week.
I do absolutely hate that.
Oh my God!
That is
hey,
something from the 2000s I wish they would bring back is that like every month Stone Cold or Triple H or The Rock would fight somebody different. They weren't just fighting the three of them over and over and over again.
The Mysterios versus King Corbin.
Yeah.
I'm done with it.
And I don't think that's a thing you can blame on, because I was about to say, well, maybe that has something to do with COVID and they're, but it was like that before.
Yeah. No,
you would go through. It would be like every feud had a story arc.
Yeah.
And it's like, for this next 2 months, these two guys are going to feud, and we're going to see them fight a bunch, mix in a couple of different matches, but for the most part, it's going to be these two going at it.
Yeah.
And it just, that was another one of the things that was like, I don't. It's one of the things that wasn't compelling enough for all the time of mine that they wanted.
Because it'd be like Charlotte Flair and Asuka are the tag champ, or we're going for tag champs. I don't even know if they are the champs right now.
Right.
But it's always those two against the actual champs, or the defending against somebody. So it's either those two teams going head to head, or then they separate them and it's a member from each team singles match.
Right.
And then the next week it'll be the opposite members. And I'm like,
Yep.
I'm so tired of seeing the same matchups.
Right.
I want to see somebody different in the ring, but I don't want to go to AEW because then I got to learn about all these other people. You know? So like that's where I'm at. I don't want to put in the time to learn some of these wrestlers' stories, where they're coming from, what they've done in the past. I don't even, is Jericho even still active?
He's there.
Okay. Is he?
Yep.
Okay.
And there's actually breaking news from this morning. There's one more wrestler you wouldn't have to learn about because you already know. He debuts tonight. Paul White, the Big Show.
Really?
Is gone to AEW.
That's official. That's legit.
Official. Yeah. It was on Twitter about 5 minutes before we went on the air.
He just got taken out by Randy Orton like a couple months ago when he was killing those legends, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was on WWE TV when they had Legend Night when Goldberg came out.
Okay.
That was the last time we saw him on
just saw him
WWE
on
TV. And now he's
Wow.
going to be in AEW. So,
oh, man.
that's crazy big deal.
That is wow. So he's been in WCW, WWE.
Yep.
So is Jericho, though.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. Let's talk about Pokemon cards for a minute because this is insane to me. To celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Pocket Monsters, so they're called in Japan, McDonald's has been including card packs in their Happy Meals for the last month or so.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's at least a couple weeks.
Yeah, and these things have been flying out of McDonald's, man.
Yeah, they've been selling out. I stopped into my McDonald's near me just to get like a burger or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I should ask if they have the Pokemon cards because I've seen people posting on social media that sold out everywhere. I can't find them. I was like, you know what? I wonder if they have them. And so I rolled up to the window to pay, give the gentleman my card, And then he opens up the window and hands me my card back. And I just wanted to know if they
Just
have
out of
them.
curiosity. Yeah.
So I'm like, do you guys still have the Pokemon Happy Meal cards? And his response, like super fast, yes, but you can't buy them separately. Bam! Slams the door on me.
Yeah.
Like I think he thought I was going to try to see if I could buy just Pokemon cards.
I'm sure.
And I just want to know if you had them in
Yeah.
stock. And if you did, I was going to buy a couple Happy Meals just to have them bring in to some people that I know that collect Pokemon cards.
Right.
And can he ring me up for 2 Happy Meals? But he slammed the door in my face, so I just tweeted to the world, hey,
This
this
is where you can get 'em.
McDonald's has some, so go get them.
Yeah. So
And they sell them separately. Go.
Yeah. Make sure you ask. Ask. You have to ask 5 times.
a lot of
If they sell them
YouTubers.
separately.
His
for them to
name
sell
is
them to
Ted.
you. Yeah.
Ask for Ted.
I wish I had his name. Yeah.
So there's been a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people on Twitch that have been going and just purchasing 20 Happy Meals to get these Pokemon cards. I guess the big deal is that some of them are shiny. You can get with a little,
Now, are these
holographic
cards
stuff
you
in the
can play in
background.
your deck, or are these
They-
strictly just collecting?
These no, these are cards for the game, and they are reprints of all the basic Pokemon from every game. So like Charmander, Bulbasaur.
So some
Squirtle.
people might actually already have these cards in their deck.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they're legal for play in the game. It's one of those things that people still play the Pokemon game, but I didn't realize it was that huge a deal. And I'm sure
I didn't think so
McDonald's didn't either.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure they're like, yeah, we'll do this Pokemon card thing. I mean, people still play it, so people will be interested in picking it up, but just tons of people are like,
Yeah.
I gotta have one.
Or McDonald's corporate knew it was that big of a deal, much to the chagrin of the stores. They're like,
Sure.
crap, we got to deal with this now.
Yeah. But it's not you can't get a Charizard, but you can get the Charmander. And then you can get, and each of them will have a particular attack that is I think it's called Happy Meal to commemorate, and they've got little
That's
things.
every one of my attacks.
Is Happy Meal.
Happy Meal.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
don't
only thing that Al can attack.
Not
and
every
survive.
meal. Not every meal is happy, Al.
Makes my stomach happy.
But
This
yeah,
is from McDonald's.
It once again, it's crazy to me, even being
I'm loving it, Chuck.
a video game or a comic book collector, that Pokemon cards are still this big a thing. My question to you guys is that has there ever been a fad like this that you guys were super I'm into? And because I'm not going to go into details, but Transformers can be kind of hard to get to depending on which ones I'm looking
This
for.
Transformer is cool.
Right, exactly. If they're really cool, then sometimes I have a hard time finding the one I want. But were you guys into the Beanie Baby craze or?
No, not so much Beanie Babies. I mean, I was into Pogs pretty hard I was into Pogs hard for at least a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I was buying slammers that were this thick,
Was you just collecting them, or were you actually playing Pogs?
Oh, I was playing Pogs.
Yeah.
It was me and a kid in my neighborhood who would have the Pogs, and I remember smoking his ass, and then his mom made me give all of his Pogs back.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, that's not how the rules work.
This is not how you play Pogs, ma'am.
I'm imagining James running a back alley craps game, but
Yeah.
it's Pogs.
Yeah, it's just Pogs.
Yes, that's kind of what it was like.
Throw down an old army blanket.
Yeah.
There's the one kid that's got the toothpick. There's the other one that's playing with a switchblade.
Yeah.
You come to play Pogs.
Like, you guys got your Pogs? You got your slammers ready?
Yeah.
It's funny because when I
25 Pog buying, bitches. Can you handle that?
You gotta buy in.
Can you handle that heat?
when
And I don't want no plain old basic bitch Pogs. I want some fancy Pogs with the Simpsons
Yeah.
characters.
James
I
has
want Nicktoons,
James has a gold slammer on a chain, like a medallion.
And for some reason, I'm only 12, but I got chest hair and it just glistens.
It's
You
glued
guys
on.
ready?
It's
Yeah.
glued on from the barbershop floor.
It is. You can see the Elmer's glue,
Yeah.
all the white crusty with the glue.
And then apparently I show up and me and James both have the same parted hair.
Yeah, we have the same haircut. Yeah. The same haircut and the same with the
Arrowhead.
Yeah, you had an arrowhead necklace
Yeah,
on, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I had an arrowhead necklace on too. I should bring in the picture of me with that haircut and the arrowhead necklace for my school photo that
I
Al posted
feel
on
like
his,
James would have been
social
running
media.
a scam where there's also a kid that's down the street and around the corner with the big trench coat. He's like, "Hey kid, need
Oh,
some
yeah.
Pogs? Need some Pogsy?" So you take all the Pogs from the kids
Yeah.
and then you give them to this guy and he sells them back to him. And
Absolutely.
you're
Yeah.
making a cut of it.
Yeah, Mike, you just give me a 10%. I want 12 Butterfinger candy bars. That's what I operated on was
On
candy and
Butterfinger, yeah,
snacks.
candy
Yeah,
and
you know
snacks.
what? Oh, you got How many 2 liters of Faygo Rock and Rye?
That's
Okay. I'm gonna stash that in my
the
room.
gold
Yeah, I'm
standard
only
right
allowed
there.
to drink so much pop.
That's what Driver in the Twitch chat is saying right now. Magic cards. When I started playing Magic: The Gathering, they were just like it was just kicking off. It was like 95-ish or something like that. And the game still had the rule where like you shuffled your deck and then you peeled the card off the top and put it up for ante. So if you lost, not only was that card not in your deck for that game, but if you lost, that card went to your opponent.
Oh, I didn't realize they had a rule like that.
That they used to, yeah. And then when Magic started getting real big, they had to abolish that rule because it was gambling.
because that would suck because you can't look at it. Obviously, you just stick it in there.
You would shuffle up your deck and then you'd be like, that one.
It could be your
And it was
biggest
always-
card in
it
the
was
deck.
always, oh no!
And so with Magic, I forgot.
Did you know which one it was? Like,
You
was
would
it
peel
face
it off
up?
and put it face up, so you'd both look at the
Oh,
face
it's
up cards and
face
see
up.
which ones. You'd be like, my Black Lotus, no!
I'm gonna get your Lotus, Chuck.
Right, not my dual land. Those things are $20.
I'm gonna take that dual land and I'm gonna do dirty things to it.
Yeah, Jay Moore in the chat saying, fingers crossed, you'd get a land card. Sometimes you'd be like, ha, it's a mountain.
Well, that's what I was
Cool.
gonna ask. With Magic the Gathering, you didn't have separate decks for mana and
Nope.
things. It was all whatever
It was
you
all in the
pulled.
one deck.
So if you ended up just pulling a bunch of monsters and stuff, you're like,
Yep.
ah, crap, I don't have any mana to tap to
The
actually play them.
the only real good story I have about that is that there was a big dragon called the Siobhan Dragon, and he wasn't worth a whole lot because he was really tough to play. You couldn't play him until late game, but somebody in our play group, like that was his game killer right there. It was like getting the Siobhan Dragon out, and then you couldn't beat him, stuff like that. And I remember playing him and pulling him out, and he pulled his dragon. I'm like, I have to win this game. I have to, so I could take the dragon away from him.
It's not even so much that I want it. I just want you to
I'm
not
not
have
even
it
gonna
anymore.
play it, but if I
Yeah.
could take it out of your deck, then you can't have it. It was always. Now I'm remembering it was.
Oh,
funny.
you could have been a real son of a bitch and threw it right in the trash in front of him.
You just rip it.
Yeah, no, it's.
Guess who's never gonna win again?
Yep.
Don't tell your mom.
Yeah, exactly. Don't tell your mom.
Then you get home. Mom, if Max's mom calls, don't answer. She's lying. She says I'm stealing some stuff from Max.
Right.
I want it.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
We also thought for some reason that you got a response turn if you got killed when you played Magic. Like if you brought me down to 0, then I got 1 turn to try and equalize it and bring you down to 0 as well.
And that's not a rule?
That's not a real
Oh,
rule.
I think they had that in Hearthstone.
Yeah, there was some other game that we used to play, like a tabletop game that had that rule where
I feel like that's like to make everybody playing like feel fair. Like, oh, you just got annihilated, but guess what? We'll give you one last little pity attempt.
you get one more turn to
Yeah.
like do as much damage as you can.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, then I will flip my swamp mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm
well,
not a
that's
Magic player, so I'm going to read this message to you and get your reaction.
Okay.
To see what is it? Lee B says that he lost an Orb of Destruction that way.
That wasn't a huge card, but that was a game changer card.
Game changer card? Okay.
It wasn't one of the real expensive cards, but it was definitely one of those, like, if that hit the table, you're like, oh, no, this is going to be a rough game.
Gotcha.
All right, well, I got some video game news, as I mentioned before. We've got stuff coming on the PlayStation Plus that is going to be a pretty big deal. We've got the Nintendo Direct that happened last week. Some Blizzard's releasing some new games, some old games that could be new games to you, and more.